Hello everyone, welcome again to my channel. Thanks for the click. I hope you are doing well. Well, in this episode we are going to see a very common function lesson, which is the cause and effect, expressing cause and effect. Well, expressing cause and effect is very important for either speaking or even for writing. So in this episode and the upcoming ones, we are going to see different linkers and expressions and words that we can use to express cause and effect, okay? All right, so we can say cause or reason. Effect, we can say effect or result. So we can say cause or reason, we can say effect or result, okay? For example, you work hard, you study hard, you make effort, you revise your lessons, you do homework, etc., etc. So the result is that you succeed in the exam or you get high marks, etc. So this is the cause and effect, okay? There is cause and there is effect, okay? All right, today in this episode we are going to focus on the cause. I'm going to give you very simple linkers and words that we can express the cause, very common that you might be familiar with. All right, because, since, and as. And as you can see, these three words to express the cause can be used in these two patterns, okay? In pattern number one and pattern number two. What is the difference between pattern number one and number two? Very simply, in number one, because, since, and as are used in their beginning, as you can see in their beginning. But in this pattern, as you can see, they are used in the middle of a sentence, okay? In the middle of a sentence, but these ones, as you can see, in the beginning of a sentence. All right, so as long as I said that these expressions are to express, to show the cause, very simply, they are followed by a cause. So this part is for the cause, okay? And this one is for the effect, okay? Is for the effect. All right, again, the same thing for here. They are followed by cause. So this part is for the effect. So we say effect or the result, okay? Effect or the result. So the main idea that you have to keep in mind is that these words, because, since, and as, are always followed by the cause, as you can see, either in pattern number one or in pattern number two, okay? Another very important thing that you have to keep in mind as far as these three words are concerned is that these words are always used with the SVO, the SVO, subject, verb, and object, all of them, because, since, and as, subject, verb, and object. The same thing here, subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. So when I say SVO, I mean subject, verb, and object, okay? So this is what you have to remember about this pattern, because, since, and as can be used in the beginning like this pattern, and they can be used in the middle as this pattern, okay? As this pattern, all right? They are always followed by the cause, as you can see, all right? Now let's do an exercise, a very simple exercise together, so as you can understand these patterns appropriately, okay? So in this exercise, as you can see, we have three sentences. So as you can see, each sentence has two parts. One part is the cause and the other part is the effect, okay? So what are we going to do? Very simply, we are going to link these sentences, these three sentences, using either this pattern or this pattern, okay? All right, you can pause, try to link these sentences, and then we do this exercise together, okay? All right, now the first thing you have to do in this exercise is what? Very simply, is to identify where the cause is and where the effect or the result is. Let's start with number one. Some students fail in the exam, they don't prepare well. So here, why they fail in the exam? Very simply, they don't prepare well. So they don't prepare well is the cause. So this one is the effect, okay? This is the effect, all right? Number 2, he was late for work. There was a terrible traffic jam. And when I say traffic jam, I mean problem in traffic. All right, so what is the cause? He was late for work. Why he was late for work? There was a terrible traffic jam. So this is cause. And he was late for work is the result or the effect. Number 2, the weather was bad. The match was cancelled. So why the match was cancelled? Very simply because the weather was bad. It was rainy maybe or windy, etc. So this is why the match was cancelled. So this is the cause. This is the effects or the results. Now it becomes easier for us to link them. So when you identify where the cause is and where the effect is, it becomes easier for you to link them. For example, we can start with because. So as you can see, because is in the beginning of the sentence, okay? Because, as I said, it's followed by the cause. So what is the cause? The cause is they don't prepare well, and here we have some students. Now here, what is the subject? Here we have they, and here we have some students. So it's better to start with the noun first, and in the second part to start with pronoun, okay? Noun and pronoun. So here we are going to change they with some students. So we can say because some students don't prepare well. Here we have, as you can see, we have comma, okay? So we have to use comma here. They fail, so they. So here we used some students. In the second part, we use the pronoun they. So they fail in the exam. All right, they fail in the exam, okay? The second part is the effect, okay? Pay attention to comma when, because, since, as in the beginning, we use comma, but when they are in the middle, we don't use comma, okay? Also, here again, we can say since some students don't prepare well, they fail in the exam, or as some students don't prepare well, they fail in the exam. Let's see number 2, he was late for work. There was a terrible traffic jam. Now let's, here in this sentence in number 1, we use this pattern. Let's move to the second pattern in which these words are in the middle of the sentence. Let's use, for example, as. We are going to start with the effect. What is the effect? He was late for work. So this is the effect. Then we use as or since or because. Okay, so as, this is it. We don't have any comma here, okay? So as there was a terrible traffic jam, okay? All right, so here again, as you can see, this is the effects, and as is followed, as or since or because, followed by the cause, as you can see, okay? So he was late for work as there was a terrible traffic jam, since there was a terrible traffic jam. Okay, so as you can see, this linker is in the middle, okay? But here it is in the beginning of a sentence. Let's move to number 3. The weather was bad, the match was cancelled. The weather was bad, the match was cancelled. We said that the weather was bad is the cause, and the effect or the result is that the match was cancelled. So we can say since, okay, so since followed, as I said, with cause, followed by cause. So what is the cause? Is this. So since the weather was bad, now when we have these words in the beginning, as I said, we use comma, okay? We use comma. So since the weather was bad, comma, the match was cancelled. So since it is in the beginning, we have comma and it is followed by the cause, as you can see. This is the cause. It is followed by a cause, all right? We can also say as the weather was bad, comma, the match was cancelled, or because the weather was bad, comma, the match was cancelled, okay? So this is very easy to remember. Just you have to pay attention to this, because, since, and as can be used in the beginning as this pattern, or can be used in the middle, like here, okay? All right, so I hope you find this easy to understand. If you have any question or suggestion, don't hesitate to ask. In the upcoming episode, we are going to see other expressions and other words to link sentences with cause and effects. See you then, have a good time, and goodbye.